Good morning, everyone. So I'm coming on here because currently I'm either too scared to sleep or whatever the case be. I'm just awake right now because as soon as I close my eyes, I guarantee the baby's going to wake up. So I have a feeling it's going to be soon. So I wanted to come here real quick and tell you guys about fantasy. So everybody who has been here and knows me for the most part knows that last year I picked number one overall, and that was horrific. I don't even think anybody last year who picked number one overall and picked Christian McCaffrey had a good fantasy draft that year. Okay, am I wrong? Let me know if you had number one and you did well in your league. But I had the only thing that kind of made my team still keep afloat was Lamar Jackson. But other than that, everybody was a shit show. So this time around, last season we got last minute told what our positions were. So obviously very unpredictable that season. This season, however, I am, guess what, picking up again number one. So am I excited? Absolutely fucking not, because I still have PTSD from last year. So this time around, obviously, we got told ahead of time so we can actually start preparing what we're going to do. Now, if everything goes as I think it will or may not go, obviously, here's the biggest concerns of what I want to do, okay? So you could either go running back or wide receiver, obviously, because someone's going to pick up a tight end number one. Even though I think Brock Bowers will have a really good season this year. Anyways, besides that, it's very like comes down to what I think is the most consistent, reliable source of PPR points because my league is a PPR. A lot of people like Bijan because obviously he has the ability to catch, score, run, all the above. He has actually a favorable season this year with his team in the sense of who they go against. But there's also Jamar Chase, who I am very much heavily leaning on that because of his chemistry with Burrow. And even though they didn't put any money into that offensive line, ugh, I'm very torn. But I have a feeling I just you gotta go with the consistency. Chase has been the person I feel like has been most consistent, and if anything, Chase is on the case. And if you know, you know. But I think I'm gonna go with Chase overall. I do have a friend who's picking number two, who is so I do have a friend who is picking number two, right behind me, and has been begging me to trade number one because he's terrified of I'm gonna pick somebody that he wants, and he tells me he wants Bijan. So like as an enemy that you are with next to you, the last thing you want to do is give me an idea of what you want, because now I'm questioning maybe I shouldn't go Chase. But it's just so difficult because I think there's a lot of touchdowns that he splits with Algier, and I have a feeling it's still going to be the same. Whether Algier doesn't get as many touches, the biggest points are touchdowns, and I feel like there was a little concern for me in that sense of where they were splitting that carries at that point. Um, Other people that I think want to you choose to have as like another questionable number one is Justin Jefferson. Obviously, we know he's consistency. My biggest concern with Justin Jefferson is obviously his injury from last year. Will it be coming back or will he aggravate it? I did like CD Lamb last year, and I was really wanting to pick CD Lamb last year number one, and would have probably had a better draft outcome this time around. So I don't know. I am very torn. I am very conflicted because I did not want the number one draft pick. But at this point, when we did like kind of like a random pick times three, and then the third was the final position. And each time they did the shuffle, I was in the top three. So it's like I'm meant to be top one pick or top three. At this point, I accepted my faith, but I think I might have a chance. But I think there's I wonder how much statistically, how many teams that have drafted number one have won and won a championship. I guarantee not a lot, and if they did, they traded a lot of their players to even get to that point. I do have I'm excited to hope that when it comes back around in the second round, there's a couple people that may fall to me, which I'm hoping to do. Now, a couple people, which I'm hoping none of the people that I draft with, except maybe my husband, who's in the same draft um, place with me, doesn't tell people what I want. I really hope Lamar Jackson falls to me in the second round at the end of the wraparound, and I also hope either him or Jonathan Taylor. So we'll see how that goes. I did look at matchups. Obviously, the Falcons have the best and easiest schedule. They do say the Jags are up there. I just don't like the Jags because of how inconsistent their offense has been. But that might be another quarterback in the sleeper or late. So another thing that I did this time around, which may or may not work, is I used Chat GPT to give me ideas of where I'm going this, okay? So this is the top 10, top 20 offensive line, best offensive line. Obviously, it's very important to have a really good offensive line. You should know this at this point, that if you don't have time to throw the ball, these receivers are not going to get it. So, surprisingly, Cowboys, Browns, Bills, Eagles. So, all those players that I'm considering, none of which are on that team. The Probably the only one I could see top one or second round is probably Saquon. No, definitely Saquon. I mean, but Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, those are kind of consistency in that. Bills, it's just I don't know. Are there any Bills Mafia in my followers that can tell me who are they doing number one? Because honestly, that offensive, like these offensive teams here are so inconsistent with a number one receiver that it's hard to say. 49ers, another team that has a good offensive line. However, again, questionable who's going to be the number one receiver because I believe Brandon Ayuk is injured. I don't know how long it's going to take him to come back. There's a lot of injuries in these teams. And I don't think I even had enough time to do the study. And I'm just hoping that I, for some miracle, just win by luck. So tell me what you guys think. Did you ever win with a number one first round pick? And what did you do to do that? And was it pure luck? Or do you think you just traded a lot of things and made things work when things were turning south? Because I'm curious, especially last year, that fucking sucked, and I'm really worried about this year. All right, guys, I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna try to get some rest. Have a good week. Bye.